Hello, toy fans, and welcome back to my 13 days of Halloween! That's right, toy fans, we are back with day 12 of my 13 days of Halloween review series. Hopefully you've been watching along the entire time and making sure you get entered into that contest to win some pretty cool prizes. If you don't know what I'm talking about, definitely check the link below this video for some contest rules. But what I have for you today are some Marvel Villain Zombie Minimates from Asylum and Diamond Select. Now, way back when Marvel Zombies and their comic book were the new hotness, Diamond Select had given us some select scale figures and Minimates of various Marvel superheroes as zombies. But ever since Disney's acquisition of Marvel in 2009, it seems like Diamond Select is only allowed to create zombie characters of villains anymore. Since then, we've received 3 box sets of zombie villains, typically they come out around Halloween, and what we're looking at today is box set number 2. This particular box set has a giant image of zombie Dr. Doom at the top, and you can see this box set includes Dr. Doom, Kingpin, Sabretooth, and Morbius. Now, for those of you who stuck with me long enough, you may remember that I reviewed the Marvel Zombies Black Panther and Iron Man 2-pack last year, and I've been pretty anxious to build out my Marvel Zombies Minimate roster. But before we check these guys out, let's take a quick look at the rest of the packaging for this box set. As we look at the side of this packaging, you'll see some more images of the figures inside. Then coming down the back of the packaging, we do have the logos for Marvel, Diamond Select, Art Asylum, and Minimates. We have the Villain Zombies logo. You'll then see pictures of Zombie Kingpin, Morbius the Living Vampire, Zombie Sabretooth, and Zombie Dr. Doom. And at the bottom, we've got a backstory for these figures. Alright, Spook fans, that's the packaging. Let's get these villainous zombies out of the box and see what they're all about. Alright, toy fans, here we have all of these zombie villains out of the packaging with all of their accessories, and this box set is a lot to chew on. Ha! Okay, somebody give this video a like because that phrase totally just happened. Anyway, since there's a lot to look at with each one of these figures, let's go ahead and look at them one at a time with their accessories. Starting with Dr. Doom. Alright, so here we have Dr. Doom up close, and I do think the art style of this figure does definitely mimic Sean Phillips' artwork from the original Marvel Zombies storyline, and even Marvel Zombies 2, although Doom wasn't really featured in that. In fact, Doom was barely featured in Marvel Zombies #1. He was in a couple of panels towards the end when there was a villain versus hero fight, but he definitely did look like this. He had this sort of completely blacked out face, or shadowed face, I guess, with only his teeth and eyes visible, so I think that's a nice touch for the Minimate figure. And I think the printed design on this minifigure is actually pretty nice too. We've got his musculature, or I guess the suit musculature, printed on the outfit there, and we have some purple splatter. We have the actual armor sculpted the way it needs to be, and then on the back, I love that he's got all these scratch marks, even some dirt at the bottom of his cape. I think that's a nice touch. Now, you can actually pull off the cape, and you just have sort of a solid black head. It's only meant to be used as sort of an inner shadowed face for that hood. I don't think you're supposed to have this guy posed without that on. But then on the back, we've got a really nice looking sort of exposed shoulder here, and even some more printed detail on the costume. And then we even have some fabric wrinkles sculpted into the lower half of his tunic. Now, Dr. Doom also has an accessory mounted here on his hip. He's got a holster here, and that gun does actually come out. You just need to give it a little bit of a tug. It actually came out of the figure when packaged, but once you pull it out, you do have a very Latverian-style laser pistol. Almost looks like the original G1 Megatron Transformer, right? So definitely German in design, or faux German, and you can just fit it nicely in his hand, and he can actually, aim his pistol if that's what you want him to do. But we also have these extra accessory pieces. Now, during the course of Marvel Zombies 1 and 2, and even the first issue of Marvel Zombie Dead Days, and that's all I've read from this entire zombie universe, it had so many spinoffs, I don't ever remember Dr. Doom having lit up eyes. Near as I can tell, this happened either in Dead Days or one of the many spinoffs that I never actually read or finished reading. But changing the head isn't too difficult at all. You can just kind of pull off the head of this Doom. It just pops off. Actually, it was a little tighter than I expected. And you can just put this head on. Just pops right onto the joint. And it's a ball joint. It's pretty easy to switch in and out once you get it going. And then this arm is actually supposed to come off too, from what I've seen on reference material online, and be replaced by this completely sort of flesh arm. Now on the front, it might look a little bit out of place, but when you flip the figure around, having that exposed shoulder that we looked at earlier definitely brings the whole look together. The Kingpin zombie definitely has a decent amount of girth to him. I like the way that his body's actually been sculpted. On the front and the back, you get this sort of general just rounded nature to him, which I think is great. He's also got an excellent range of accessories, but before we look at those, I do want to mention the art style of that Kingpin face does appear to be different from the Sean Phillips style artwork that we saw with Dr. Doom, and even the Marvel Zombie Iron Man figure that I reviewed last year. For that reason, I suspect this Kingpin is referenced from a different Marvel Zombie story, outside of 1 and 2 and Dead Days, that maybe I haven't picked up yet. But it is a good-looking zombie face. I think there's an excellent amount of detail here to make him look like he's, undead. He's got blood all around his face. I like the way that the wrinkles and the rotting skin have been kind of printed on the face. As you rotate the figure around, you're going to see all these sort of scratch and damage marks all on his costume, which I think is really, really nice. We even have some nice paintwork applied for his ascot. And you can even see the blue cuffs of his button-down shirt coming out of his jacket sleeves. Now unfortunately the paint on my Kingpin's right hand is a little bit heavy-handed. As you can see here, the fulcrum of the hand is a bit clogged by all the paint work going on, which is too bad because Kingpin actually has a pair of accessories to hold. He has his classic cane for one of his hands, but then he has this sort of chewed-on zombie bone that's meant to be held in the other hand. Later on, I'll probably try to do what I can to open that grip up, but it's unfortunate out of the package that he has that minor defect. Less unfortunate is a really cool alternate look that you can give this Kingpin figure. What you'll want to do to achieve that look is just pop the shoulders off this Kingpin, and you'll do that on both sides, and once you remove his head, you can actually slide off the torso, and you've got a clear underside here, and then you can put on this new torso that has holes actually in it, which is pretty cool. So with the clear torso piece underneath that, you can actually see through the body. We've got 4 holes on the front, and those holes are continued on the back, which is a really cool touch. And then you're just going to go ahead and grab these arms and pop them right back onto the Kingpin figure. Kingpin also seems to have this extra pair of shoes. You can actually remove these sort of boot pieces off the lower end of his legs, but if you do that, you've also got to remove the extra pieces that are attached to his hips, and I guess that actually gives him a more slender look than he's typically seen with. Personally, I just prefer to leave his stock feet on and ignore that these ones are even part of the set. Next, let's go ahead and talk about Michael Morbius. Now, Morbius is actually probably the secret weapon of this box set. He's got pretty much a vanilla version of the character available just by default, but then you do have the alternate sort of zombie, or as he said in the comics, the Vambi, since he's half vampire, half zombie, head that you can switch out with this figure. Anyway, as you can see here, Morbius does have a flight stand included, which is very similar to the one that we got with the Beautiful Joe Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Minimate, and it's probably been used on other Minimates as well. That's just the only one I've seen it used with. And the actual print work on the figure looks really, really nice. He's got some heavy shadowing, very similar to the Sean Phillips art style, but again with the face, and even with the zombie face, we're not seeing that sort of heavy shadow work on the face. So obviously we have another character here that did not appear in Marvel Zombies 1 or 2. But I like that he has the attached wings to his arms. Now the only problem with my Morbius figure is that one of his arms, this one, doesn't really let the wing move independently, like you see here with the other side where I can kind of rotate it back and forth. I think there's a paint issue or something going on there, but I don't want to force it because it's such a tiny amount of plastic, I'm afraid I'm going to break it. But I do like that the wings are painted on the inside and have the color that matches his outfit on the back, and some nice back detail on there as well. Now the pieces that Morbius are coming with actually allow you to turn him into sort of the scientist version of Michael Morbius, albeit still a vampire. To change out these pieces, you'll just want to pop off the arms and the head and even the collar that's underneath the Michael Morbius head, and just put the lab coat pieces on in their place. Also, just for fun, here's a quick look at the zombie version of this Morbius figure. I need plasma! Alright, now finally we come to the Marvel Zombie Sabretooth Minimate. Now this Minimate actually reuses most of the pieces that we saw with the Best of Wave Sabretooth that was released sometime around 2012, at least that's when I picked it up. But you'll see basically everything's the same here, they've just kind of changed the deco on the outfit, which isn't a bad thing, it's actually a pretty decent sculpt. Looking at the detail for this figure, you're going to see he has lots of tears on his costume, he has all of his musculature there, he looks really dirty. He's got that very Sean Phillips-esque face detail, and the reason for that is he actually appears in Marvel Zombies Volume 1. But that's not saying much, because his appearance is so brief that he actually dies off-panel. Kind of depressing, really. Looking at the back of this guy, you can see that we have no additional detail on the back of this figure, but he's got some pretty cool interchangeable pieces. You can pull the head off of this figure and even the right arm, and once you've done that, you'll notice that his torso, his base torso, is actually a transparent plastic that has some detail painted on it. Looking at that in closer detail, what you're going to see here is we have that same sort of musculature sculpted, but then we have this definitely this ripped away part of the body that even has the rib cage showing. The side of his body basically has been blasted off. You can then put the bone piece that you see here, kind of attach it to the shoulder, and it looks like Sabretooth took a pretty heavy hit to the side, and then just put the collar back on, and even put the head for this figure back on. And then you've got what I think is a pretty cool sort of armless, possibly spleenless Sabretooth zombie Minimate figure. Moving on to articulation, these Minimate figures don't have anything that we haven't seen before, and it's all pretty much the same across the line. So for the purpose of this review, let's go ahead and take a look with Morbius. They have a head that's going to let you move it down and back and rotate left and right, ball jointed shoulder that rotates forward and backward, single jointed elbow that bends down that far and up that far, and full rotation here at the wrist. They have a rotation here at the waist. They have a hip joint that allow you to move the leg forward that far and back that far, and then the knee can go back all the way. And then they have a rotation here at the ankle. So, as always, a great range of motion for such a tiny little minifigure. Height-wise, we can see that these Minimate figures do stand right around 2.5 inches tall. Dr. Doom's closer to 2 3/4 with his hood. For some size comparison, here they are compared to the Marvel Zombies Iron Man and Black Panther minifigures that I've already reviewed. And compared to Mega Bloks Spider-Man and Creo Transformers Cheetor. Here they are compared to one of the original Minimate figure lines released in 2002, we've got Captain Kirk from Star Trek. And finally, here they are compared to an average-heighted Minimate figure, we've got Wolverine from the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Minimate line. Huh? What's wrong, Runt? Weren't you just a zombie? Ah! Huh? Ah, my arm! Thanks, I was hungry. Not that I care or anything, but are you gonna be okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Come here, Runt. Save me a drumstick. Alright, toy fans, well that's my review of the Marvel Zombies Villain Box Set number 2, released by Asylum and Diamond Select in 2014. Overall, while this box set may not be for everyone, I mean you have to be a fan of zombies or even the Marvel Zombies storyline to want to get this set in the first place, it is an incredible box set that lovingly draws from its source material. There's tons of accessories and alternate looks for each character. I'm really impressed with the findings here, and had this box set been released in 2014, I might actually be considering it for my top 10 toys of the year. If you're not able to find this zombie box set, there are 2 other ones available from Diamond Select. All of them still seem to retail for about $20. An excellent buy for everything you're getting inside, and I highly encourage you to pick this up. Well, thanks so much for watching this review, guys. We have one more review coming in my 13 Days of Halloween review series. In the spirit of All Hallows Eve, leave a comment below and let me know what your favorite zombie movie is of all time. For me, I always enjoy watching the Zack Snyder remake of Dawn of the Dead. But Zombieland's kind of up there for me too. Well, thanks for watching this review, guys. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you tomorrow for a final zombified review.